Hi, everyone, and thank you for waking up with us on this Wednesday morning. I'm Jordan Schreier here with Lisa Bedell. We're just getting started with your news and weather to the top of the hour to help you plan for your day. We start with a breaking news alert this morning. Firefighters and other officials are checking out a partial roof collapse at a Fargo elementary school overnight.
The Valley Today's Abby Furchner joins us live from Centennial School on 25th Street. Good morning, Abby.
Yeah, good morning, you guys. I'm outside of Centennial Elementary where they're going to be doing some cleaning up today after part of their roof caved in. The cave-in happened in this hallway behind those closed doors, but we were able to get a picture of the damage. As you can see, the ceiling tiles are hanging and exposing the structure of the roof, leaving quite a mess. The school tried their best to remove the snow, but eventually called in the Fargo Fire Department and police around 9:30 Tuesday evening. Thankfully, nobody was hurt and kids were on spring break at this time. But this is a concern for many in the area, especially with more snow on the way. And Fargo Fire tells me that this is about the 9th collapse that they've heard of so far. Again, thankfully, there were no kids in the school at the time of the collapse, and Fargo Public School is asking for kids to stay away from the building as they're trying to get this cleaned up and hopefully under wraps before school starts again next week.
Good news that it is spring break and no one was there at the time, but it does make you question the stability of other structures.
I mean, if we've reported on one roof collapse this past week, we've reported on a dozen or more, so it's serious out there.
Yeah.
Thank you. Abby Furchner reporting live on this breaking news. Thank you. Classes are also canceled at Dilworth, Glendon, Felton, at least through Monday because of structural concerns. Heavy snow buildup is a problem at their building in Glendon, but all 4 DGF buildings are now shut down as a precaution. The closure includes DGF High School and Middle School in Dilworth and the elementary schools in both Glendon, Felton, and Dilworth.
School officials say a structural engineer is now taking a look at the buildings and the snow is being removed from the rooftops. No classes, meetings, or events will be held in any of the buildings during this shutdown.
9 minutes before 7, let's get a check of our storm team forecast as we're preparing for more heavy wet snow to be on the rooftops.
Yeah, and rain too in areas that if you have some snow on your roof and you get some rain, that's just going to soak right in and sit there as well. And then on top of that, the wind. So a combination of some really tough conditions as we head into the day today and through the day tomorrow. Blizzard warning is now in effect for later today, tonight, into eastern North Dakota, northwest Minnesota, and Pink here and beyond. A winter storm watch for our eastern counties. That's where we're more likely to get rain for a longer period of time. But once that snow starts to fall in your area too, anywhere where we have falling snow and wind, it's going to be a problem, and you'll likely see some whiteout conditions, but it may not be until tomorrow morning. So checking out your visibility, we are dealing with some dense fog this morning as well. So hazards already starting up today. We're at a quarter-mile visibility in Fargo, and there's some frost on those roads too to watch out for. Still mild to the east in that warmer air mass. Out to the west, it's colder. There's a transition zone for temperatures, and that's right where we'll see that transition zone for precipitation. More rain to the east, snow to the west, and a mess in between with this one. So checking out your radar right now and satellite map, those higher clouds starting to move in. We're already getting rain and freezing rain and some snow into South Dakota. That low still intensifying, still deepening in Colorado. Eventually, it will work its way to the north and east, and we'll see, of course, that rain and snow initially with that moving in before we see that low. So checking out our snowfall potential. Again, the timeline on this, we're looking at that mix coming in around the noon hour in the south and then pushing northward from there and lasting through Thursday. Eventually the snow will end, but we're going to see about 6 to 12 inches of heavy wet snow here with this one. Now that transition line, that could move a little bit. Even today we're looking at that potential, and so wherever that moves to, that's going to have a big difference or make a big difference on what we see in places like Fargo, other places that are kind of right on that transition zone. We could end up with a little more rain in Fargo, some sleet, and then perhaps only a few inches of snow. If it's a little farther east, it could be a heavy snowfall event for Fargo as well. Over to the east, circled in green here, that's where we're more likely to get a lot of rain with this system rather than snow. So again, lots of problems given how we have different kinds of scenarios happening here. Impossible travel starting up late tonight. We have the potential for more roof collapses with more heavy wet snow and rain added to those snowpacks. And with those winds gusting to 60 miles per hour or potentially more, that's a threat. That's an extreme wind, and that's a threat for wind damage. So we're talking down branches potentially, and power lines too, and power outages possible, with areas of icing where we're seeing that rain transition to snow, street flooding in those areas of rain, and of course a threat to people who are out in this, but also to livestock as well. So again, looking at conditions that are going to be deteriorating throughout the day as this lifts from south to north. By 7 o'clock, a lot of us in the thick of this, and this will continue into tomorrow. So more on this throughout the morning, but we want to check in now with the Valley Today's Al Ahmed.
Morning, Lisa. Good morning, everyone. We're on Interstate 94 this morning, checking out the Metro Interstate Loop. We got off to an awfully slow start, but boy, traffic is most definitely picked up, and there is a lot of it out here, both on I-94 and I-29. Despite the dense fog out here that Lisa's been telling you about, it is indeed a dense fog. Travel speeds are pretty much near normal. 60, 65 miles an hour. Road surface is mainly wet. You might run into a slippery area here and there, but for the most part, they're wet. You're going to need your washers this morning. The ramps, that's a whole other animal again. The ramps tend to be a bit on the greasy side, so make sure that you're looking out for that. Also want to remind you about the streets in and around the Fargo-Moorhead metro area. They are really quite slippery this morning due to the fog, the frost, and the slush that we have out there, so look out for that. And starting this morning at 11 o'clock, there are going to be some bridge beams. They're going to be put in place on Cheyenne Street over the diversion. Make sure you're looking out for that. I expect some congestion there and lane closures from time to time. That's between 11 and 3 today. Drive carefully today. Stay with us. Al Ahmed, Valley Today Traffic.
A business complex along 13th Avenue South in Fargo is blocked off and shut down after part of the ceiling started to sag. Rescue crews were called in yesterday, and they ordered the building to be evacuated, and tenants are not being allowed to move their belongings out. People who were inside the building say water is dripping from the sagging ceiling. One person says she heard banging and popping and then saw chunks of the ceiling falling down.
People who work there say they've been trying to tell the property managers for days that something was wrong. We contacted Prairie Property Management and were told they had no comment about the situation at this time. Power companies around the valley are making their emergency plans for this upcoming storm. Freezing rain, especially combined with wind, could very well knock down power lines and cut power to customers. Lake Region Electric in Pelican Rapids, Minnesota is one of the co-ops getting ready. Workers are watching the weather and they'll be ready to scramble to fix any outages. For safety tips during an outage, just go to valleynewslive.com and click on this story. We have new information this morning on a reported armed robbery in Moorhead. A man says that he was robbed at gunpoint after offering a stranger a ride last night on the city's south side. It happened around 9 last night near 11th Street and 32nd Avenue South. Police say, along with Clay County deputies and the State Patrol, that they set up a perimeter and did a canine track, but came up empty. There were unconfirmed reports that the suspect was about 6 feet tall and wearing a black winter coat. Police are not confirming any description. The North Dakota Fire Marshal has been called in to investigate a fire that sent one man to the hospital and destroyed his home. It all happened yesterday morning on the south side of Lidgerwood. A garbage truck driver who spotted the flames saw the victim on the floor in the entryway of the house and pulled him to safety. The victim was taken to Fargo by air ambulance. There's no word yet on his condition. A West Fargo teacher who is under investigation by the district has now quit. The school official confirms that the board has accepted a letter of resignation from Dan Machtel. He has been on administrative leave since late February while the district looked into a personnel matter. Machtel was a science teacher at Cheney Middle School. Details of the investigation have not been made public. And ESU is celebrating another chance to make it big. The Bison men are headed to the NCAA men's basketball tournament again. I'm very excited. I stayed up late last night to watch this game. The first thing she told me when I walked in today. It probably wasn't that late, but it started at 8 o'clock, so it was late for me. They punched their ticket last night in Sioux Falls after beating Omaha 73-63. The Bison men returned to the big dance for the first time since 2015. It was on ESPN2, and at the end, when they were interviewing Coach Richmond, they said, you guys are kind of known for having, a great football team, rightly so. And Coach Richmond's like, well, we obviously have a pretty good basketball team,
all
too.
around a good university. Congrats to them. Let's get the answer now to our question of the morning on Facebook. Here's that question. 37% of us say doing this will put us in a better mood.
The answer? Watching a sunset. Remember, you can take part in our question of the morning every weekday morning by heading to our Valley News Live Facebook page. And it's going to be a busy day for our storm team.
Yeah, already starting off with some trouble this morning. We've got some dense fog and visibility down to a quarter mile in Fargo. So watch out for low visibility throughout your morning drive. And it's a little bit slick out there, too, to start off your day. It's quieter to start, but we're going to see conditions deteriorate as we head into the afternoon and evening. Remember, we have that blizzard warning for eastern North Dakota, northwest Minnesota with that winter storm watch in the east where we're more likely to have the rain. But somewhere in the valley, 6 to 12 inches of heavy wet snow and that wind, gusts to 60, going to be a big problem. Stay tuned. We'll have updates throughout the day.
The Today Show and CBS This Morning are just about to start, but the Valley Today